It all began on July 15th, 1949 at 12 noon. People crowded the streets in front of TV store windows. At noon, the screen lighted up.
This is WBTV, Charlotte, North Carolina, signing on Channel 3 television from Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City of the South.
And WBTV was on the air.
I'm Jim Patterson, and the day that I read that first sign-on was absolutely wild.
Soon, a staff of reporters and film photographers were jumping in their news wagons, lights flashing, speeding off to cover plane crashes.
First with television in the Carolinas. First with color television in the Southeast. First with color videotape in the nation.
When one thinks of pioneering in TV, he thinks of WBTV.
This is a WBTV special presentation. On this day, 70 years ago, Charlotte's WBTV became the first broadcast television station in the Carolinas to go on the air. We carry on that legacy tonight as we celebrate the moments we've shared as a community and a nation. Join us for the next hour as we reflect on 7 decades of serving this region. And we invite you behind the scenes for a glimpse of what's in store for the future. WBTV has spent every day for the last 70 years working to earn your trust. We're proud to be on your side.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on this special night. I'm John Carter. You know, I first started here at WBTV right after I graduated from Appalachian State University. So, like you, I've seen a lot of changes over the years, but one constant throughout all those years has been you, the viewer, welcoming our team into your home. You've tuned us in the good times and the bad times, and you've trusted us to bring you the most important stories impacting you and our area with the facts. And throughout the next hour, my friends and coworkers here at WBTV are going to be joining me as we look back at some of the biggest stories we've covered, those that made us stronger or perhaps brought us together, and those that we still talk about today. When you think about it, I'm not sure anyone could have imagined back on July 15, 1949, what was to come. After all, the very moment we are celebrating tonight almost didn't happen. If you don't know the story, there's no one better to tell it than the very man who signed WBTV on the air back in 1949, Jim Patterson.
Well, I don't think anybody on the staff thought we'd really get on the air, that all of this would manage to work. You see, I had to be at the transmitter at Spencer Mountain at 12 noon for the sign-on. And everything was up in the air at the Wilder Building Studios, of course. And naturally, I got a late start. And practically had to fly those 26 miles to get there on time, roaring out Wilkinson Boulevard at 85 miles an hour all the way. But we did just make it.
And we made it all right, but it was still quite a gamble. At the time, a television set cost a month's salary, and unlike today, the station didn't own a single camera that first day we signed on. Still, excitement surrounded the idea of TV and what it could mean. Now, we have spent weeks digging through the archives here at WBTV, and we found books like this, where every story was written down with the tape number and the date it aired. And we also found this ad from the Charlotte Observer announcing our big day and the start of regular scheduled television broadcasts. But there wasn't much to that schedule. The first day, this image, take a look, it's called a multiscope, alternated with a test pattern for hours. The Cliff Edwards Show followed, then Robert Ripley's Believe It or Not, the 54th Street Review, and the movie A Star Is Born. But who was watching that day? Certainly wasn't like it is today. You may be watching right now from a smartphone or a tablet. Back then you had to be in front of a television to see us, and there were only about 1,000 sets in the area. By August, though, there were 2,000, and that number climbed to 8,500 by the end of 1949. And from there, television sales only continued to grow, as did we, as did our programming lineup.
Howdy doody doty doody ho ho ho.
Arthur Smith and the Cracker Jacks, Cowboy Fred Kirby, Betty Feaser.
Hello. On this very cold and getting much colder Wednesday visit, let's talk about whether you should wash your face or whether you should cream your face.
The 1950s brought another first for WBTV viewers.
We've had a little rain, but it stopped the minute we got on the air.
They were able to put the names and voices they'd heard on radio with faces on television.
Doug Mays became as familiar as the next-door neighbor through the SO Reporter.
Programming mixed between news.
Now here's our own weather globetrotter, Claude McLean.
And entertainment.
Show us your best quarters.
Well, I fear my house offers but what you see.
All of it was produced in the same studio. As soon as news and weather finished, set change started.
From this studio space, such programs as Tap the Barrel, Shot by Television, Carolina Cookery, Nocturne, Synopsis, Money to Burn, and countless others were born.
At the time, live shows were king, and for good reason.
There was more time to fill. The networks provided fewer programs than today,
leaving imaginations to seemingly run wild for years to come.
There were quiz shows, comedies, musicals, interviews, kids shows, audience participation shows, how to do it shows. There was nothing we didn't try. We had no pressure from the rating system, very little fear of failure, and a lot of guts.
Kind of balances out the situation here.
And what's Burt Reynolds got that I haven't? Don't answer that.
That would take an hour to explain, CJ, at least.
Join us each morning at 6 here on Channel 3.
News, weather, and sports each morning.
And you can get beauty tips, too.
In 1999, WBTV This Morning expanded to 5 a.m. Since then, we've added WBTV News Prime Time, first at 4. Morning Break.
We got red carpet for you.
Yeah, edify everybody. We'll be right back with more Morning Break right after this.
And On Your Side Tonight with Jamie Bowl.
Diagnose and treat things like, yes, prostate cancer. It's the second leading cause of cancer deaths in men.
As you can see, the mix of programming hasn't changed much. We still deliver news.
The Pentagon says it is sending about 1,000 additional troops to the Middle East.
And even have a little fun.
Only Cam Newton could pull that off,
exactly.
right?
Okay, yes.
Only Cam Newton, or possibly me.
Look at you.
But instead of one studio, there are 3. Each is named for a WBTV pioneer. Each carries a part of our legacy. Each reminds us how and where this all started.
This is WBTV, Charlotte, North Carolina, signing on Channel 3 television from Charlotte, North Carolina.
So much has changed since that day 70 years ago today. Now today we produce 47 hours of programming weekly from this building. Quite a difference when you compare that to where we started originally. And just as our founders realized excitement about television in 1949, they would soon realize there was a hunger for news. Stories like a massive freight station fire, a brave teenage girl standing in the face of adversity, a presidential visit, and even an elephant on the run in Charlotte. It all happened in the first 10 years we were on the air. And we're going to look back at those stories and more as we celebrate 70 years of being on your side.